I'm Jeff. That's Tom. And you're you. And you're in the Warchant. Perhaps you're in the Heisen Legal Law Firm chat there on Warchant TV. Perhaps you're just driving about and enjoying your day, listening on 93.3 FM. That's a good thing. All right. We're adding to the board here, Tom. First of all, good to see you, buddy.
Hello.
And, yeah, I think it's working. It's working. We're making it work here. I'm just figuring it all out here. Just a couple of different buttons, but a different camera as well. And we'll see. Does this camera make me look better?
You look more colorful. I'll put it that way. There are many more colors there.
Well, nobody listening to the radio cares about that at all. So
well, you've got plenty of color for audio purposes as well. I think that's why people love you for 20 plus.
Oh, he's so kind. Hey, good to have you back, buddy. It's a little bit of old school yesterday. It reminded me of way back in the beginning. And it was fine. It was fine. We had a wonderful conversation with Mike Tomkowitz, who shed some light on where we were and the lawsuit situation. I don't know if you went back and listened to that, but I think the thing that was fun to talk about was ESPN Plus being down $65 million during the last quarter.
Yeah, so actually that's really funny that gets brought up, because if you saw the announcement that Walt Disney released today about the new bundle, they're coming up with another new bundle.
Which looks a lot like cable.
It's right. They're partnering Hulu and Max. So that now it's going to be in the future, not just Disney Plus and Hulu, but now Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max. And what's interesting is the bundle that they have right now is Disney Plus, Hulu Plus, and ESPN Plus. So where did ESPN go? So that's because ESPN is starting to move towards its direct-to-consumer existence, where they've got to raise the prices so they don't lose an arm and a leg. But the thing for ESPN is they anticipated this was coming, really in the weeds stuff for the first few minutes of the show. But that's why they're purchasing up all of the rights that they can, all the live rights. So you've got no choice. You must select ESPN Plus, and you're going to do it at a low rate of $29.99 a month.
Yeah. No, the whole thing makes me laugh. I don't worry about it as much as I use it as a gauge for where does that leave us at Florida State and how soon can we get out of this conference. Like, I don't think about anything other than that. It's sort of like, oh, well, this will mean this and this will mean that, and then I got to have this, and all right, that's fine. I already have, I'm sure in the era of automatic renewals, all of us are in the midst of paying for many services we do not use or even know that we have. I told you that story not long ago on these airwaves where I had the Criterion Network that I paid for. I love documentaries, and ages ago, I was all in on this and then didn't realize I still had it, and I've been paying for it for years. Went unwatched. I'm still mad about this. I'll never catch up on all the movies that have come and gone off of Criterion.
Well, and then there was also the time where you were paying for cable, and for some reason you got YouTube TV because maybe one game was missing, and so you bought the free trial.
I forgot I did it.
6 months later, you're $500 into the hole to YouTube TV. Yeah.
Well, it's like Fabletics. I got a pair of golf pants for Fabletics one time. Didn't realize that they once you buy one pair, you're now a monthly member that you pay $30 a month for. It's like, what are we doing? This is ridiculous. That's why we're always scrambling. I got to admit something that happened yesterday evening where Mike admitted to the world down in West Palm that Destin Hill's out for the year. And, of course, you and I already knew this, and I've hinted forever and a day that this was the case without saying it because you get in trouble if you say it. Don't do that, Mike. Did you just forget? Let it slip by accident? Nothing really happens with Mike that's by accident, right? What was that about? The fine folks at West Palm deserve to hear that before everybody else? Seems strange. But we've been talking about the wide receiver room and the need to go get another wide receiver, in part because we knew Destin Hill was out for the year. Now you can openly discuss it. Now you don't have to worry about beating around the bush and tiptoeing around it.
That is correct. And it's all the same characters. And even with that understanding of what Destin Hill was not going to be able to do, or the assumption, maybe they were holding out for a second opinion, but I don't know that there's a second opinion on certain injuries. But even with that development, I think we all expected a greater exodus out of the wide receiver room. And that returns to the discussion, which is, the coaching staff clearly did not see an affordable upgrade on the open market. So the juice was not worth the squeeze to highly suggest that a few receivers leave, push them out, if you will, because, again, there was no obvious upgrade like a Keon Coleman. And so now what you're leaning on and hoping for is development out of that position. Guys get better over the summer. Guys get more consistent through fall camp, and you cultivate options that way. But it's an uphill battle because Destin Hill was going to be one of the players that you leaned on without a doubt.
Yeah, and I think that this goes back to one of the things we mentioned before about the receiver position is that they're comfortable with that room. They were saddened, as we all were, when Destin Hill got hurt because he was having such a great camp. But just because you'd like to supplement that room because of that injury and find somebody that you feel like is a can't-miss prospect doesn't mean that one is going to be available. So you're correct in pointing out, Tom, that there wasn't a player of that caliber that they thought they could replace him with in number 2. And I think I used on the air at one point when we were talking, and I didn't mean it to be a disparaging remark about this particular player, but I was trying to make an overriding point, which was that what are you going to go do? Are you going to go pay more than you should pay for another Darion Williamson, like that you already have in your room? Like what? That's the caliber of player that was out there. And you're not going to overpay for a Darion Williamson and upset the apple cart just to get a player of that caliber who's relatively unproven or not the sort of game changer that you'd be willing to overpay for. So the room ended up being the room.
I think that we need to get more comfortable. You've always been comfortable, but we need to come up to your level about being comfortable enough with compensated athletes to say that they're this class or that class of player. Leaving the door open, I should say, for development. Guys can, they could be late bloomers. I said this in a video that Ira and I did regarding Destin Hill. Hopefully somebody in that room, one of the old guys, has a LaMarcus Brutus track line to their career, where at the last possible season, you go, man, that guy's good. I'm glad we have him. I thought he was never going to start. I thought he was never going to be in the rotation. But by the end of his career, he played meaningful games, and there was a drop-off when he came off the field. Hopefully that's the case with one of the guys that we see now that are older, like Kentron or Deuce or Darion. Somebody takes that step. Even if they all take a little step together, you can rotate them for their different skill sets. But we've got to get more comfortable in the day and age where players are being compensated above and beyond the total cost of attendance. If they're not good, then they're not good. This is no longer this thing where, well, they're student athletes, give them a break. I'm less inclined to do that now. So if you're saying replace a guy with a guy or just another guy, sure. I think that's more fair game than it's ever been.
I don't think they were impressed with the group that was out there for them to pick from, and they just decided to stand pat with the belief that that group is already pretty talented and will continue to get better. I think it's important to note we've watched a lot of guys get better. For example, one of the guys that they're expecting to take a big step forward this year, and a lot of people are concerned about, is Hakeem Williams. But if you think about what he went from spring to fall this past year, if he were to see a similar type growth from this spring to this fall, what will he be when the games begin? I have a feeling he's going to be very good. I have a sense that he'll be an impactful player. I think they understand that by going out and bringing in a bunch of speed and then relying on the run game and throwing off a play action, which is what they're going to do, they're going to be more mauling this year than they were in years past, that what you had to do was get people to stretch the field. And so they brought in some speed. And we're counting on a lot of guys to do something they've never done in college before, but it certainly doesn't mean that they won't or can't. And I'm not for just bringing in another guy. There wasn't anybody I'd be willing to pay for or pay big money for in the receivers that were out there in this transfer cycle. There wasn't anybody that I thought you can't live without. They got lucky with Keon Coleman in that once that happened, you knew he was a bona fide difference maker. And he wanted to come to Tallahassee. And so you kind of had to make that deal. Typically, that caliber player is not available. You kind of build your roster in the wintertime, man. This isn't when you do it.
Well, and that's where another player that you bring up a lot, that Ira brings up a lot, and so does Corey, because you guys watch a lot more skill player one-on-ones and 7-on-7s, is Jaylen Brown. And if you think about him as a portal investment, he might not be ready for prime time this fall, but that is a wide receiver addition where they decided, hey, man, the juice is worth the squeeze with this particular player because he's got speed to burn, and we like how he's going to fit in our system. If he's a big-time player for us this fall, I think that speaks to an accelerated growth curve, a development curve that maybe we shouldn't have anticipated and is unfair to anticipate. Somebody's welcome to step up, though. Like everybody's welcome to take that leap forward. Like Hakeem is definitely going to be on the field. I heard that exercise you did 2 days ago about who's the starting 4 wide receivers. Hakeem is 100% going to be one of those 4. You know why? Because we've got speed to the perimeters, and you need somebody who can be a mauler and blocking. Now, if he bothers to take another leap forward as a wide receiver who catches the ball and breaks off on routes, not only is he going to be one of your first 4 on the field, he's going to be one of your first 2 on the field. But like you have varied skill sets here. It's just you're looking for consistency. And then also the data we're working with is vanilla play calling against the defense who knows the vanilla play calls. So it's not a perfect evaluation of what they are as a receiver room, at least when you're talking about the showcase. Maybe day-to-day practice is a better indication.
Yeah, the more I thought about it, before I did yesterday's show, I was thinking about the angles and things that I wanted to talk about regarding the team. And there was information that had come out, so we needed to talk about the roster and the depth and to talk about where we were, because you were adding a linebacker that pretty high profile. We were pretty excited about adding that linebacker. And then also Duke Cooper, which kind of raised an eyebrow and thought curious enough. But I could see the reason for that. It's not going to cost you anything either. So you thought, okay, well, we'll do that. This is a guy that's played safety and corner, and he knows Adam's system, so it makes a little sense there, and it doesn't cost you anything to do it. All right, fine. I'm all right with it. And once we were talking through that scholarships and scholarship numbers don't matter anymore in the age of NIL, it doesn't matter. You can just make somebody a walk-on if you have to and pay them, the equivalent of room and board and food. With an NIL deal, and doesn't count against your scholarship. So anymore, we got to stop counting scholarships. Doesn't really matter. You can have 100 people out there. It doesn't matter.
If you've got the budget for it, but that gets really expensive really fast, especially when you're
not going to do it. But I'm saying if there's a guy that you had to fit on the roster because you were at, 85, what are you going to do? Well, you'd find a way.
I would imagine this means that medical DQs are coming. It has to. I don't know that. Because what if they still add a defensive interior? That's 3, man, you're pushing upper 80s and you're trying to reduce by 5 over the next 2 seasons in terms of schollies. I think at 85, that'd be an awful lot more comfortable if you had normal scholarship situations over the next 2 years. But as to Duke Cooper, it gets fascinating because they did want to switch him to safety. I think he was less than apt to accept that assignment. Did he come back here under the agreement that safety is his home? Because corner ain't exactly open for business right now. I don't think you come here to play corner, especially if you're a veteran. That has to be a move with an eye towards him in the safety rotation.
There's no question he has to understand that he's coming back here if he wants to play football at all, to play in some form of safety or a backup safety. I mean, he did that, Tom. I think in the 20 games that he played for FSU, like 7 of those were safety. Is that right?
It could be. I'm not.
He moved him around. I mean, I remember he didn't fit nicely. It didn't work out. I think it might have led to the impetus for him leaving.
Well, they moved him. So he had a badass half a season at corner, then a disappointing season at corner. Then they moved him to safety last spring. And I think he left after last spring.
Was that? Do I have it wrong?
It might be Renardo you're thinking of, or could be a Keen.
No. Obviously, Renardo stuck it out. I wouldn't have thought about it.
You could be right too, but
I thought he played some games at safety and it just didn't work.
It could be true, but they think
they could use him. This isn't working.
Yeah, they think they could use him at whatever position. They wouldn't say yes, especially to a guy who left the program. Now, not everybody leaves the program on bad terms, but you wouldn't say yes unless you thought that there was a need, because it's a veteran. At this point, Omarian's a veteran, so you don't bring him in just because we forgive you. You think you're going to put him right to work.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I think the reason that they did it was that because Greedy left. Like this is to me about, they know that there's a bit of a void there. I mean, you can think what you want of Greedy, but he was going to give you viable reps. And losing Greedy Vance is a problem. Now, I don't think it's the end of the world. I also think they wanted him gone.
So you think that maybe Omarian might be working at slot as an Earl Little insurance policy?
Yes.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's entirely possible.
I'm here for that.
That's what I believe. Yeah, I think that's why they did it. I started kicking it around like you're doing now, like we're both doing. I'm like, man, seems to me this might be their answer to fill the role with somebody experienced in Adams' defense for what they chased off. And I believe now they would probably take issue with me saying chased off. I don't think they wanted Greedy here. I didn't get a good sense that they were in love with Greedy Vance on a day-to-day basis. So, that was not a referendum on what he brought to the table as a player on the field.
For those of you that are listening via audio, there was the Christian Bale Kermit, because you just dropped down with one that I think everybody just needs to consider, like Christian Bale and Kermit.
Yeah. No, I did. Guys, that's the feeling I got, was that those two believed they were better separate. That Florida State and Greedy believed that they were better separate. It was really not about what the guy brought to the table as a player. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Ready for a breath of fresh air this tax season? Well, breathe easy with E&B Heating and Air. Don't miss out on federal tax incentives for new AC systems and heat pumps. Take advantage of up to $2,000 in tax credits, plus additional savings from city and manufacturer rebates. E&B Heating and Air Conditioning has been serving Tallahassee and surrounding areas since 1974. Call us today for your free estimate at 850-575-9119 or visit us online at enbheatandair.com. That's enbheatandair.com.
I'm Greg Tisch, here to share one of my favorite TCC stories. In the summer of 1966, Eugene Lamb wanted to stay in shape before leaving to play college basketball in Louisiana. So he jogged to Tallahassee from his home in Midway and helped lay the bricks for the first building on what's now the TCC campus on Appleyard Drive. Today, he is a longtime member of the TCC District Board of Trustees. It's no exaggeration when we say Trustee Lamb helped build TCC into what it is today.
TCC thanks our community for 58 years of support. We look forward to moving into the future together.
Oh my God, what happened to you? You're walking so crooked.
Well, I was walking my alligator and I tripped on a cypress knee and I spilled my margarita.
Oh my gosh, your margarita.
Yeah, I blown my back completely out. I had to ride the alligator home. I don't know what to do. My back's killing me.
You're such a poor man. You should know you should go to Finn Chiropractic.
Really?
You can go to their website and book an appointment and get you in as soon as possible. Go to FinnChiro.com, FENNCHIRO.com.
You mean 24 hours a day I can make my appointment online and pay for it?
Yep, right on their website.
Wow, and it's discounted?
Yeah.
All right, that's what Florida man needs to do.
No lines, no waiting. Visit FenChiro.com to book your next appointment with a discount. FENNCHIRO.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com. It's Fen Chiropractic, where the chiropractors love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Hold my beer. I'm going to Finn Chiropractic.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Sellers, are you stuck between wanting to sell your home and waiting for rates to fall? Are you worried about the contingency of having to sell your home? What if you didn't have to? With a 2-1 rate buy down, you can lock in a lower interest rate for the first 2 years of your mortgage and get the home you want now, all while having a higher chance to buy that next home with the contingency of selling yours. If you wait for rates to fall, you risk more competition, sellers less likely to wait, and paying more for that next property. If you're stuck, we need to talk. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. Again, this is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. That's 954-369-6171. And don't forget, for every loan we close for our fellow Noles, I will personally donate $250 to the Battle's End.
Equal housing rent. NMLS number 373031.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick, professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best, in addition to the always great has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, I don't know why it bothered me that Mike let it slip that Destin was out for the year down in West Palm, but it did, Tom.
Yeah, I didn't know that would be the take, but yeah, it was. We deserve to hear it up here first. Is that what you're saying?
We were there. We saw the effing injury. Most of us knew 100% in the moment, and if not the moment, the next 48 hours. Yet held to that secret.
Hey, you know what? You got to do the right thing for the right thing's sake, not because you think you're going to be rewarded. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. That's true. True detective.
No, well, I was thinking about an internal email we got at a former place of employment. You know, character is what you do when nobody is watching.
Yeah. By the way, our friends at Tried and True Consulting are prepared to help you start saving and making money. As a business owner, you get to choose between one of three offers: $1,000 off a point-of-sale system, no gateway charges for 1 year, or free video menu or ad board when you become a Tried and True client. So they're doing all kinds of things here these days, guys. The offer is being extended from today through July 31st. So get in on the savings. Don't forget 10% of the net revenue will go to the battle's end. It's huge. Call Don or Joe today, 844-463-6653 or 844-I'm-for-Noel for all the details. Tell them, if you want, that the Jeff Cameron special. They didn't tell me to tell you that, but I'm going to tell you that, it's the Jeff Cameron special. Make it happen.
Well, it's true. I've actually been on a call with Don and Joe because we've got many facets to our business enterprise. And
yes,
they explain that stuff down to the granular level. So you know exactly what to expect, when to expect it. It's worth at least investigating, if not converting to Tried and True. Trust me, give them a shot.
And it's the Jeff Cameron special.
Sorry,
so
yeah.
So you don't know.
33 days away from his birthday. My God,
Yeah, the Jeff Cameron special. You never know. There may be additives. They may be like, listen, we didn't say it, but since you're mentioning it, we'll throw in some tequila. You don't know. You could. Don knows a ton about tequila. I've had tequila with him. We've discussed the larger business issues of our time over tequila, Tom. So it can happen. It can be a thing. People are asking about the drain field prospecting. Tom, I introduced it on the show rather unscrupulously yesterday that I'm tired of being quoted crazy numbers for a drain field. I had somebody reach out to me yesterday, as I knew they would, but not a drain field person, but rather just a good friend and listener of the show. He said, Jeff, that's preposterous that you're being told $12,000 to $15,000 for a drain field. I know somebody that'll do it for $3,000. And I did not want to besmirch whoever this person was who would do it for $3,000. But I felt like at some point in that email, if I was to respond, he'd tell me it was his Uncle Ted. My Uncle Ted will do it. He needs the work.
Who is it? Why, it's me, of course. I could do it for you. Here's my Venmo. I need $1,000 deposit, Jeff.
Yeah, well, I mean, at this point, I would do it. It's crazy. $12,000 to $15,000.
Where are you putting the drain field? In your backyard?
Wherever they tell me to put it. When I first moved in the house, it was off to the left-hand side of the house, and then they said, "Oh, well, this one unfortunate thing for you." And I bought this house 16 years ago, and he said, hey, you need to move your drain field. Now, I got waylaid by that. I didn't know this. I didn't know the drain field was a big to-do. I know I'm learning more about drain fields than anybody would ever want to know. It's like having to talk to your accountant. You don't want to. You never want to. Nobody wants to spend a lot of time talking to their accountant. It sucks when you get a call from your accountant. They're like, oh, hey, Jeff, Joe, I need you to give me a ring. Okay, Joe. What else do I have to do? What other loophole are we doing? What is going on here? I want my accountant to be very aggressive. And I don't want him to ask me for permission. I just need to know exactly what we're doing. But I don't want to have a lot of conversations. Most of them, because they do their job well and are thorough, will say to you, look, if we do this now, you understand. Like they're trying to lay it out there for you. Like, just do it. I don't want to know about it. Don't want to know about it. Don't want to have this conversation. I've been on the phone for 45 minutes with you. Nope. Not part of a good day. Not part of a good day, me talking to you for 45 minutes. Well, I feel that way about drain fields or any sort of household endeavor. Oh, you need new gutters. Oh, this is what's going to cost you to fix your driveway. Oh, this is what we got. Hey, no offense to my friends at Bear No Heating and Air Conditioning, who I love dearly. They've done 2 air conditioning units for me. Tom, we've talked about this on the air. They've done an amazing job. My air works awesome. It gets put to the test, as everybody's does in the summertime in the state of Florida. But I don't want to have long conversations about air conditioning. Don't want to. I want a simple, hey, this is what you do. This is how you maintain it. Got it. Talk to you in 15 years. Don't need to have another conversation about this air conditioning.
I look forward to seeing your balding head completely bald the next time I speak with you about what needs to happen with these 2 beautiful Carrier units I have. I trust the experts and I turn to the experts. That's why I called you at Bear No Heating and Air Conditioning. But I don't want to see you unless there's, one little malfunction that cost me $200 because I joined in the safety protection plan.
That's right. Yeah, or $37 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I agree. So back to Florida State football, since we were talking about this a moment ago. I said yesterday that I was looking forward to the kind of offense they're going to play. And I did not talk to you about this, but I said that I think that this is going to be a more aesthetically pleasing offense for me to watch than last year's. I didn't enjoy last year's offense. Didn't like it. For much of the season, I felt like we were limited in our options compared to other seasons. Some of that had to do with injury. Some of it had to do with the fact that Jordan Travis refused to run. Refused to. There's no other way to say it. He refused to run. All the opportunities were there forever. He wouldn't do it. And that pissed me off and drove me nuts because we were just leaving yards and first downs on the field every game. They could have really put up some numbers, but I get it too. I mean, the counter was, hey, look, man, they did not really have anybody else. They did not trust Tate, and they knew they could just beat teams with him from the pocket. He's trying to put a lot of pocket stuff on tape so that he obviously elevates his draft stock. You want to be able to cater to the young man to some extent, save it for the big moments in the big games against teams that you're going to have to run the ball against with your quarterback. But I just felt like it limited us. So going all the way back to the start of camp when I first said I thought this offense could be better than last year's, Ira brought it up the other day when he went back and looked at the numbers. When you look at the passing yards per game and all of that, man, that's not that high a bar for DJ to reach. I just think it's going to look a lot different than it looked last year, and that's partly because I think Mike is done with this nonsense of not being able to run the ball. He wants to run the ball, and this, especially at the guard position this year, we're huge. We are huge. He brought in 2 maulers. He wants to run the football, and you've got a backfield for days. He's going to run the ball, and we're going to throw off a play action, and then you're going to roll big-ass DJ out of the pocket on 3rd and 4 and 5. The option's going to be an explosive player like Jalen Lucas, and if you don't commit to that, or if you do commit to that, then he's going to run his lumber and ass for 7 yards, because if he runs for 3, he's running for 7. You're not bringing him down.
That's right.
And
because it'll be 2 before he gets the motor running and you get him to the ground. So if it gets up to 3, he's got momentum built. That's a good call.
Yeah. If he runs for 3, he's running for 7. And if you do commit to him and he dumps it off to a Jalen Lucas, you're effed. So this, to me, is going to be fun. And then they'll throw the ball down the field because you're going to creep up to stop the run, and they've got speed for days. Straight line speed. I like it.
So can we call, let me see if you agree with this. I submit to the court here, a lot of legal proceedings, that last year's offense can be called the Kyle Schwarber offense. What do you think about that?
Feast or famine?
He hit 197 last year, but he hit 47 bombs.
Yeah.
He drove in 104 runs, but he hit
over the course of 162 games. That is not visually pleasing to watch somebody hit 195.
No, it's not. But he opts 817. Anything over 800 is good. It's not world beater, but it's good. And that's what this offense was good. And they hit home runs, but they didn't hit a lot of doubles. There are other players out there who'll hit you 25 home runs, hit you 40 doubles. And that would have been the offense from 2 years ago, because there's a lot on the ground. 6 and 8 and 1, then 12, then 3, then 15, then you pass, that kind of stuff. And that's not what last year's offense was about. I couldn't believe it. I had to fact check you, even though I knew you were right. Game 2 of the season last year. Was it Southern Miss? It was the Drop Fest game.
Oh, I told you how many negative to 0 yard plays.
It was like 50. It was like 50, 1 yard or fewer plays.
It was ridiculous. I came in and I said, I hate to rain on everybody's parade. I know we just dropped 60-plus points, but we were terrible.
But that was the whole season. Once I was alerted to that and I went through the play-by-play, I said, well, gosh darn, he counted. He's right. Then you saw that not just against Clemson, but you saw that against lesser foes too. Like even the Pitt game, I understand that Pitt's defense was okay, but and you're hurt at receiver.
Yeah, that's the other part. We were really hurt.
But I mean, okay, last year's team 2022's team in that situation, they'll just run it down your throat. No big deal. That's what they would do. They'd run counter, they'd run it well, and they'd be 6. They'd be 2nd and 4. Run again, 3rd and 2, then it'd pop 10, 1st and 10. I mean, like that's what they were about. And last year's group couldn't run the ball. And so they had to be Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, it was not enjoyable. It pissed me off. I tend to think that we're going to be oddly more enjoyable to watch. Now, I will tell you, I mean, that's just my aesthetic. I like to watch bruising football. I think it's obviously a very, very physical game. And if you could be the more physical team that travels more often than not, you're going to win games. I think it marries well with the kind of defense we're going to play this year. And the kind of defense we played certainly in the second half of last year for most of the year, period. I think it all creates more of an identity for what you are, which will be a nasty bunch that is a tough out in a 12-team playoff because they're going to play defense and they're going to run the ball. And that's huge. And Tom, Mike has always, until last year, really, Mike has always found a way to generate a run game. And he couldn't really last year. Now, I know we're all used to seeing the big home run hit plays with Trey Benson because he had several of them. But, man, there are way too many 3rd and 8 situations, 2nd and 8 situations where you're not winning first down in the run game at all. And, it was almost just a wasted play. I don't think that'll be the case this year.
Yeah, agreed. It reminded me of the Ja'Shawn Corbin offense, where you're going to hit a home run now, but we had a better passing game to go with it. So that's why the offense produced as it did. And it was good. Don't get me wrong. Again, Kyle Schwarber is a guy that you want in your lineup. You just don't want to watch 4/5 of his at-bats because they're weak outs. The 1/5 it's a good bet. It's going to be a home run. So that was the offense last year. The thing I get excited about this year, and I think this might be one of the reasons why Mike's excited. Tell me if I'm wrong. But it feels like whatever offense we're going to run this year is going to translate better to the next quarterback after DJU. I think Brock Glenn's skill set, I think Luke Kromenhoek's skill set mirrors that in terms of arm strength of what DJU is about. I think what they want to be on the ground is not what they were last year, what they're trying and they're aspiring to be in 2024. I think with Jordan being a singular talent, his quarterback skill set, it's hard to run a Jordan Travis offense every year. But this one that they're going to install with DJU, I think is going to be more, it's going to be closer in how it looks year over year to what we're going to run in 25 and 26 and 27. So in a way, it's almost like you're launching the foundation of what the offense is supposed to be.
It's funny because it's an interesting conversation to get into, and you have to be very careful in the way that you lay it out. But you are correct that Jordan Travis is a singular talent, a very unique individual who I think early on they never believed would win the job. I don't – revisionist history has occurred in some of this. We know they didn't think he was going to be the guy. Think about who they brought in. my man was missing a foot. So here we were trying to find other options all along the way. Jordan kicked down the door. Jordan was like, nope, I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to show you that I'm something that you don't think I can be. I'll be more accurate. I'll always have this athleticism. I'll always have these wheels. I'll always have the ability to make you miss in a phone booth. And I'm going to get so much better as a passer that you'll have no choice. And then at that point, you know, we'll both get what we want. You'll have a quarterback, and I'll be the guy that I always thought I could be that nobody's believed in. And kudos to him. But it's in a lot of ways, especially that last year when he wouldn't run, I don't know that that's not what Mike wants out of that position.
Agreed. I think there's one nuance to that with the read option. There are plenty of examples where he's breaking the pocket and he can go turn and run. But if it's give or keep, a lot of times defenses had that bottled up because they knew with equal personnel, they could just stop the traditional run. So they don't have to commit an extra body to Trey Benson. They can stay at home and guard Jordan Travis in the read option game.
With each passing game, they knew he wasn't going to keep.
I agree. I think this is one of those deals where both can be true. Just in rewatching a lot of those games, I'm like, well, the right decision is to give it there. Now, the other part of the equation is, who cares if a dude is standing there? You're Jordan Travis. You're going to make a miss. He could be reading it properly, staying at home, keeping his hip square to you, but he's not going to tackle you. That would be like saying that a linebacker approaching Barry Sanders in the open field is going to tackle him. It's going to be the second guy or the third guy that brings him down, never the first. So that would be the argument the other way. But I do think that the principal problem last year was consistency in the running game shot a lot of things in the foot, and it made us feel more pressured. And so, like, even Mike, you could see it on his face in the sidelines. They felt pressured.
Beleaguered. I've never seen a guy more beleaguered to have a 13-0 team. He was frustrated. Go back and look at all of the times in the second half of games where you could see he was out of answers. Remember, Tom, the Clemson game. Now, this may be a bad example. We're playing Clemson on the road. It's a loaded defense. Their linebackers were amazing, much to my chagrin. But he kind of figured out early on, we're screwed. Clemson does not respect what we're trying to do, and they're going to leave these receivers one-on-one. They just don't even believe that they can, and they kind of dominated the day. You have a heroic second quarter from Jordan Travis, or you're really screwed. And then eventually, really, we got lucky. If that kid doesn't miss a chip shot, we lose the game. But he does.
And you got to have a defensive touchdown to be in that position. Like Jordan would say after the game was over, he went on to say that it felt disrespectful if they were in one-on-ones, but it was the right move. It took a chip shot miss and a defensive touchdown. If you're going to argue it from Clemson's perspective,
yes,
even get it to overtime. And then once you're in overtime, your quarterback goes rogue.
Then your quarterback goes rogue, and then you win a jump ball, and the game's over.
So you've got a good second quarter. I think there's also a missed opportunity / missed call in the fourth quarter as you're going down. I think you might win that game in regulation. And once we get over midfield, there's some shenanigans that go on there. Remember the missed blatant tackling of I forget who it was in the slot. He's releasing in a post. Yeah. It's schemed up beautifully. You ran the ball well on the first drive, and that was it. No other drive did you run the ball traditionally well on. Yeah.
Oh, my God. No, it got completely shut down.
But that is where this is the ultimate team game. That's why we love this group. The defense had to make a play. Fitzy had to make a kick from about 50 yards, and they both did it. And then finally, jump ball 30, they hit it. They hit it when they had to have it in overtime.
It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Floridians will save more than $1 billion in state taxes over the next year. Governor Ron DeSantis signed off on a tax package Tuesday that includes a tax holiday on property and flood insurance premiums. The plan continues to include sales tax holidays like school and hurricane preparedness supplies. There will be 2 hurricane supply tax holidays where sales tax will not be collected for things like tarps, generators, and batteries. A mistrial has been declared in the grand theft and fraud trial of former Jefferson County Clerk Kirk Reams. The judge granted the motion after the defense objected to witnesses referencing Reams' previous charges. The defense defense argued it wasn't fair to mention other charges and cases that were not relevant to this trial. Judge Stephen Everett ultimately agreed. Prosecutors allege Kirk Reams misused $829,000 in public dollars during his time in public office. This trial came nearly 8 months after Reams' arrest. The state will now file a motion to try Reams and another co-defendant, Justin Tyler McNeil, together in August. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by McLemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McLemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Daytime highs approaching 91 this afternoon under partly cloudy skies with a chance of thunderstorms. Winds out of the southwest 10 to 20 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected tonight. Slight chance of severe storms. Lows level off around 73. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow. Thunderstorms likely. Highs around 84. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 88 degrees.
Ready for a breath of fresh air this tax season? Well, breathe easy with E&B Heating and Air. Don't miss out on federal tax incentives for new AC systems and heat pumps. Take advantage of up to $2,000 in tax credits, plus additional savings from city and manufacturer rebates. E&B Heating and Air Conditioning has been serving Tallahassee and surrounding areas since 1974. Call us today for your free estimate at 850-575-9119 or visit us online at enbheatandair.com. That's enbheatandair.com.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude,
no.
I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
That's funny. I just read in the chat and hadn't thought about it yet. Stevie writes, I'm so glad Shipley's gone. Me too, man. That dude was rugged. Where did he get drafted, Tom?
He got drafted pretty late.
Well, I mean, I figured he'd go late. He didn't possess any one ability that was preternatural, but he's just a football playing Jesse. He really rugged, got the tough yard.
He went to the Eagles, 127th pick.
All right. Seems fitting that he would go to the Eagles. That actually kind of works for them.
That's with him and Johnny. Like, if one of those two dudes work, that could be a huge splash. Like, that's really good value. It's an injury pick. I love when you have a player who's dominant, who's hurt, and you're into day 3. Go for it. Why not? I mean, most of those guys don't hit anyway. At least swing for the downs, and that's a home run cut from Philly in that draft pick.
Yes, Drew. Cam Riley already committed to Florida State. That was all over our network yesterday, just so you know. And I brought up Cam in this sense that I think we're better with him than without him, so I'm glad they got him. I am fascinated to see how they're going to play him. We have a situation brewing where we have too many Mike linebackers and not enough Will linebackers. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I think that is a modern day phenomenon too, that the specialization of the position, you can kind of get away with a hybrid player in that outside of the Mike position.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. You can kind of, many years ago, and we talked about it with Jalen Ramsey at that time, that you were going to just start seeing hybrids everywhere. Dudes that kind of looked like really big safeties playing corner and, skinny linebackers playing safety. Well, think about Kirkland. You could make him a linebacker at some point. Wouldn't he be the ultimate hybrid guy at this point in this defense?
Well, it's like a rover. It's almost like you're going back to that. You could just have a slow safety, but you call him a safety, and he's in the box. They already kind of have that anyway. It's the star position in Saban's parlance. Yeah, I think he's a body type that you could most certainly convert to that position. If Blake Nicholson was just about 15 pounds lighter, maybe he would be that hybrid defender because his coverage skills are pretty high.
Yeah, they are expecting a lot out of him this year. Adam was very profuse in the praise that he gave him this spring. And so I'm going to assume that he's seen things on film that maybe just didn't stand out on a day-to-day basis. And because we weren't hyper-focused on him. We watched, and, he did some good things. He did some okay things. He wasn't bad. I didn't see an appreciable jump in terms of the plays in the run game. He's always been able to cover. So, from day one when he stepped foot on campus, we said, all right, he's a freshman, clearly a little undersized, but he can really run. And that was proven early on. I mean, he was getting into games last year, and really you'd look up, you're like, he's covering that guy 40 yards downfield, and he's stride for stride. So that was evident. Then you knew the race was on to get him a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, and see how he handled the run game. And then you'd have the versatility you needed. And Adam seems to think that step was taken in the spring. I will say this, 3 months is a long time. I mean, he is going to hit the gym hard with storms and hit that Bama table, Tom, as we call it. And you could put another 10 pounds of muscle on in that time. And then he's sitting there at 230, 233. And if you're able to stick your head in there against the run and you can still run, which I think he can, then yeah, you have your player. So
it's good to point that out because I feel like we're more enamored with body shifts in the spring, but that's not nearly as much time.
That's not the time to do it. No, you just finished the season. No.
Especially if you're a player, like in the games. Because you think about the recovery time necessary after New Year's, and then we get to see the final tour of duty workout at the end of February, early March. You got 6 good weeks to build your body there. And some dudes did. Some dudes put on 6 pounds or 10 pounds or lost 6 pounds or 10 pounds. But man, you're right. You're done before May begins, and you've got all of these months to put it together. It is those August official reporting numbers that are the huge ones. And I'll bet they're going to go heavily to work on Blake, among other people. But they still did tell you that they didn't feel completely comfortable with the linebacker room by taking Cam Riley. Maybe they can defend it by saying, well, that's the best available player on the board, and we were going to go regardless of position to an area. But the language out of Mike Norvell at the Battle's End Summit, just before the spring showcase, said, I feel great about that position, and they still went and found a guy. So I find that very interesting.
I think they probably ended up finding a guy that they didn't think would be available. Remember, he committed to NC State. He was at NC State. They didn't think he'd be available. They wanted him. It was down to us in NC State. And then when he chose NC State, I said on the airwaves, this is a point that I'll beat home. I'm tired of watching NC State get these linebackers because they do a great job of developing linebackers. Every time we play NC State, I'm like, look at this. Here we go. Over and over and over again. But you can see where if you're a player and you watch that, you're like, man, they really do a good job. And they do. They deserve a lot of credit for that. Now, my only thought is a couple things. Obviously, you do your due diligence to make sure a guy's healthy because I don't know why he suddenly decommitted from NC State. But a simple answer could be that Florida State's going to be better than NC State. A simple answer could just be that they went 13-0 last year, and the more he kicked it around in his mind, he thought, well, they have a need. It's a program that wins a ton of football games. And, oh, by the way, I just watched them get 10 players drafted. That I just saw a bunch of guys get churned out to the league. I had my doubts because the previous year they had 1 player chosen in the draft. 1, and he went in the 5th round. And now I just watched them churn out 10 on the heels of a 13-0 season, several more sign on as undrafted free agents. Okay, Florida State's become fully realized. What am I doing here at NC State? What am I doing? Yeah, Doran's a good coach. We might go 8-4. F that. I'm going to Florida State. That's probably the logic there.
It's fair. I think also maybe he went to NC State because he wasn't promised anything at Florida State. They never promise anybody out of the portal anything. They promise that you can compete. And they actually hold true to that. As like goofy as that might sound to the outside, they hold true to that. Guys come in here and some of them don't start right away. Some of them you figure would be brought in to be automatic plug and play at X position, and they're not. So you could tell clearly there was a consistency in message. Maybe it was that he looked at some of the spring stuff where he got some word that still is an opening in case you're interested, if you're having second thoughts. And maybe that message was well received.
I love the idea of it. Yeah. Who knows how that message got to him? Right. But perhaps we've seen enough through spring that suggests, Mike, if you're not careful, we're going to do a thou protest too much moment on you now. This is a couple times in a row where there's been a segment group where all of us have kind of thought, maybe we could use a little something. Maybe we could use a little extra something. And then immediately when he's asked about that room, I'm really impressed with the way they've developed. We're really good there. Are you impressed with that room, Mike? Or you don't like us asking you about it because it's not what it needs to be?
Well, the problem is that you've got him rhetorically between a rock and a hard place, and that's not a fair question to ask him. Like, if I don't know I've got an upgrade, how can I tell you I need an upgrade? Because two things happen. Number one, I pissed off my locker room.
Right.
Number two, I just undercut my leverage if we're trying to acquire said player. This ain't about commitments and scallies, buddy. This is about dollars and cents. And if I go after a practice on a Tuesday and say, we need another linebacker, it just got a whole lot more expensive for me to go get another linebacker.
I don't expect him to say that. Once again, there's a fine line here. We do this in the PR game all the time. But when he does the thing where we ask him about a room or a segment group has had a tough go for 2 weeks, it's almost like he decides, you think you know? You don't know. I think that room's the best in the country. Okay, Mike. Okay, it's the best in the country. Got it. I see. That's where we're going with this stuff. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Attention, Florida. Are you a victim of an auto accident? We introduce our live chat sponsor, Hyson Lika Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Hyson Lika Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. Remember, there's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Hyson Lika Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. Call 813-803-0733 now or visit HysonLikaLawFirm.com. Hyson Lika Law Firm, your advocate in times of need.
Efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. And now offering electrical services too.
Comfort system call away.
License CMC 050334 and EC130-12140.
You probably already know that Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is your one-stop destination for all pool maintenance needs, offering everything you need from chemicals, cleaners, vacuums, nets, and more. But that's not all. Pinch a Penny also carries a huge selection of premium hot springs hot tubs paired with easy financing options, making these luxury hot tubs affordable for everyone. And if you have an older hot tub and you're worried about the hassle of removing it, worry no more. Pinch a Penny will not only remove and haul away your old hot tub, but also offer a trade-in value for a credit towards your new one. So why wait? Visit Pinch a Penny's 12,000 square foot showroom today on Greer Road and discover how effortless and affordable owning a fantastic hot tub can be. Find out more at TallahasseeHotSpring.com. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF SF, solving the future.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Wells Fargo Championship at Quail Hollow in Charlotte, a $20 million purse for this PGA Tour signature event. Rory McIlroy is a 7-1 favorite. Xander Schauffele 10-1. Wyndham Clark 14-1. Head-to-head first-round matchup. McIlroy, $1.66 favorite over Matt Fitzpatrick, plus 140. Schauffele, $1.98 favorite head-to-head against Jordan Spieth. Spieth plus 164. Will there be a playoff? Yes, the underdog at plus 350. Braves yesterday with a 5-0 shutout of the Red Sox. The Braves are the $2.18 favorite. Day off today. They'll open up a weekend series of the New York Mets on Friday. Free betting splits available at vsin.com/split. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Something amazing is happening in animation. Studios are processing data faster. That's because CDW showed them new ways to maximize their infrastructure, then built a flexible Dell Technologies data solution. More automation led to reduced maintenance times and greater efficiency, so that creativity stays the star of the show. Dell Technologies and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/Dell Data Center.
Social Kitchen is now open on Cary Forest Parkway near Ology Northside, Tallahassee's only premier market where you can receive the famed Snake River Farm steaks and premier meats. Social Kitchen also has chef-prepared meals and sides ready to serve in just under 20 minutes. Perfect for those very busy springtime weeks, weekends, you name it. Hosting some people at the house. Hey, Social Kitchen also has build-your-own charcuterie boards and catering. Stop in and visit Social Kitchen today or visit us online at socialkitchentlh.com. Social Kitchen. TLH.com.
At Paul's Termite and Pest Control, we know if you have something in your home that's not supposed to be there, you want it gone now.
Not in a couple of days, not tomorrow, but today. That's why we offer a same-day guarantee.
If you call Paul's before 12, one of our technicians will be out before 5. We guarantee it.
The health of you, your family, and your pets is why we promise to do everything possible to quickly resolve your problem.
And we do so using the safest chemicals. Notice a pest problem?
Call Paul's Termite and Pest Control before 12, and we're there before 5.
Call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
We're all spending more time at home than we ever have.
And our yards have become more than something we look at through the window. They are now a major part of our refuge.
Now that we're outside more, wouldn't it be great if we could eliminate the things that make us want to run back inside? Pests like mosquitoes and fire ants.
Paul's Pest Control can do just that, and we'll do it for a surprisingly low cost.
Our treatments are done outside. There is never a reason to enter your home.
The weather is beautiful, and now is the time to be outside.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control will help you take your yard back.
Call us for a free consultation.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
With you. Thanks for being with us. Hey, we've got some fun this hour here. We will solve for the future with our friends at ISF. And in doing so, Tom just alerted me a moment ago to some things that have happened, and we will bring those about. Those things involve sporting guys or gals, and you know that gets me going, buddy. I'm pumped about this. This will be fun. That'll be later in the hour. Hey, by the way, just a quick reminder to everybody, and I just got done eating these, so I want to make sure that I tell you guys about this, or I'll forget, and then I'll get yelled at, and that's not good. Same scenario that happened last time with the chicken Philly from Zaxby's. I didn't think it was going to be any good. I'm done doubting them. I already knew that the chicken fingers themselves were awesome. Everybody knows that. Zax sauce is awesome. The Texas toast is awesome. Whether you're getting the huge platters or you're getting just the individual boxes or whatever you're doing, you knew that was good. And I've got a really simple mindset about these things. Like, if you're profoundly great at this thing that people know you for, why do you want to get all highfalutin and try these other things? Like, what's the point? Like, do the thing you do. Don't be out here just trying your hand just to do it. That's the way I thought about it with the Philly chicken that they did. And then that turned out to be great because they paid attention to the bun. They paid attention to the kind of finer details of a Philly. And I was wowed. And then they said, we want you to try some of the shrimp. We're doing shrimp now. It's fried shrimp, Jeff. I mean, it's nothing extravagant, but we just want you to try the fried shrimp with the sauce that goes with it. I said, I'll eat fried shrimp, man. I like fried shrimp. I don't know too many people who don't. But in my head, I was like, I don't know, Zaxby's. I just don't see the point. You're already kicking ass with these fingers. You got lucky the first time with the Philly. I don't know that we need to keep pushing it. But they did, and I ate a box of the shrimp today. They brought it in here for me, which was awfully nice of them. It was delicious. I'd mix it up from time to time. I would. I think I would do it. I'm very surprised. So there you go. There's my ringing endorsement, Zaxby's. Didn't think you were going to be able to pull it off. They're very good. I enjoyed the shrimp.
So it's Southern fried shrimp if you're trying to order at the drive-through window. There are many drive-through.
You get 8 of them, Tom. You get 8 of them, and you get the Zax's Tail sauce. You get the Texas toast and the crinkle fries. You get a drink to go with it. And, look, man, I don't know that I would have expected that to be ideal, and it was.
Well, the best thing you can do if you just want to try it and you don't want to go all in on the meal, and maybe you're skeptical like Jeff, but then you're going to be converted, you can get a side of the Southern fried shrimp for $3. You get 4 of them. You get 4, so you can add it to your sandwich or to the platter or whatever you're going to do.
Yeah. No, we appreciate our relationship with Zaxby's, and we appreciate the food. And the shrimp are good. The shrimp are good. I don't know that I can contain myself here. We're supposed to be doing this just a regular segment here, Tom, but I really feel like we need to go into the game lines.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, we can solve something else for the future. We've had a lot of portal developments, so we can just we can put something else in the solving for the future segment, even though that
was going to be a bonus solving for the future segment. I didn't know that those had just gotten released, and you called me during the break, and I got so giddy, and now it's all consuming. All I'm thinking about is, I wonder what those lines are. Which games are they, Tom? You didn't tell me. How many games did we get lines for the upcoming college football season?
Oh, a ton. For Florida State, it's about a handful. It's either 4 or 5 for Florida State specifically.
Okay. I'm in. What's the biggest one of those games?
Well, I'm going to go chronological. We can play the game. Usually I play this game, and I'm pretty good at it. You'd say, what's the number, right?
Oh, yeah. You always say, what's the number, right? Okay.
So it'll be what's the number and then what side are you on that number? Usually your guest will tell us what side you're on, but
all right. Let's play that game. Here we go. So these, by the way, so for those that don't know, maybe you're not a sporting guy or gal, Vegas, certain spots have released lines for college football games. And this is where the sharps get down. Now is the time that I know people who used to, before it was legal to gamble in most states, people would fly into Vegas to place these bets. This is what they would do. They would say, okay, well, this is it. Now's the time to get down. They would look at a week 5 matchup between, two teams that nobody thinks about. This is how the sharps would make their money. They'd see something. They'd be like, oh, this is a mistake. Vegas isn't on to them yet. They don't know that so-and-so is going to be really good this year because they got that transfer or whatever. And they'd run in there and they'd make these bets. So now it's a little bit different, but DraftKings has released some lines for some of these games. And that's what Tom and I were talking about during the break. Let's just bring it to you guys right now on the air. I don't know the games that have been released, and I'm about to find out. And I am giddy, just as I'm sure many of you are. What are these lines?
Okay, so the funny part is I didn't want to tell you that this came out because if you knew, you probably would have led with it today. So this is how we show prep. Sometimes we don't tell each other what we see. So this is great, the art of surprise. It is Florida State, Georgia Tech, Dublin. That game has been released. You think the number for the game is what?
Wow. 7.5.
Oh boy. I think you're going to take Georgia Tech. The number is 13.
That's a mistake. I'll take Georgia Tech plus 13.
Okay. We're going to deviate off of the Florida State thing for just a moment because they have a line for Miami at Florida. All right. The line for Miami at Florida. What do you think that number is?
Miami minus 2.5.
-2. Very good. Very good.
Yeah, -2. Miami -2 on the road against Florida. Okay. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, here's a big line, and you would have guessed it's a large line anyway, but BC at Florida State. Coming back from Dublin, playing on Labor Day weekend. What you got for Boston College at Florida State?
Ooh. Yeah, you said it's a big number? Golly. 17.5.
23.
Good God, these are robust numbers early. 23?
Vegas loves them some Knowles, buddy.
Okay. All right. I'm off. I'm not sharp. It's the off season.
October 5th, Clemson travels to Florida State University in front of 56,000 strong.
Do you think Vegas, you think DraftKings have factored that in? I wonder if that's factored into any of these lines.
It's worth half a point. I got to imagine the away ticket allotment has gone down. You can't give the standard amount this year, right? To the away teams? No way.
That's a tough. So Florida State, Clemson, Florida State minus 2.5.
-4. They're on the other side of the 3.
Okay.
So what they're telling you is neutral site, Florida State about a point favorite.
Yeah.
All right. Actually, there's 2 more games. 3 more Florida. Man, they got our whole schedule just about.
Let's go.
October 26th, the day after my birthday, if I'm going to play it your way.
All right.
It's a Friday birthday. All right. Florida State at Miami. Florida State at Miami is what? Who's favored and what's the number?
Miami minus 1.5.
Florida State -1.
I'm shocked.
Are you placing a lot of wagers against the Knowles on these futures?
No. I'm just early in my head here, just kicking things around a little bit. I am surprised we're favored on the road against Miami. I think they're spending the 3rd or 4th most amount of money of any team in college football this year on their roster. They have gone out of their way to buy success this year. There's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly legal. They should try to. They don't have a lot of success in Miami. It's been a long time. There are many people that have been born, raised, gone through high school, entered into college, graduating, never seen Miami do anything their whole life. I mean, they're on the cusp of marriage and kids, and they've never seen Miami matter. at any point. So maybe that weighed into it. Maybe that's why.
Could very well be. November the 9th, kicking off in the dump of a town that is South Bend, Indiana. Florida State at Notre Dame.
Now, see, this is where we're going to have a disagreement. Notre Dame has some issues with injuries, including that of a prominent tackle. I'll take Notre Dame -1.
Notre Dame -3.5. You get the hook if you want it.
I'm taking Florida State.
Okay.
See, this is okay. I'm on to him now. I got it where this is going here.
Do you need, if they don't have it on Hard Rock, you just let your boy know, and maybe we can invest together in some of these.
I say Notre Dame -1.5, and you said it was what?
3.5.
Okay.
And then finally, in front of 56,000 strong in Tallahassee, Florida, the Gators travel to town beleaguered from their schedule to take on Florida State. And that number is what?
Florida State -6.5.
12.5. Florida State -12.5. Here's what we know. The Sharps feel better about our guys than perhaps.
Sharps love Florida State. Man, that's nice to see. I think I'm calculating odds based on being shorted in previous years with people not on board with how quickly Florida State was rising back to prominence. Now they think we're the juggernaut that should have been in the college football playoff. That sustainability is in place in Tallahassee, that losing that many men to the NFL draft suggested nothing about where the program's at, but rather where it's going and how much better they continue to get. We're just going to make them robust favorites in games, the vast majority of these. All right, I like it.
Would you like any bonus ones, or do you want to save that for another day? Non-Florida State lines.
Yeah, go pick the biggest games. I'm a little rusty right now in May, but all right.
All right, Clemson, Georgia.
How big a favorite were we over Clemson? What did I have us? What did they have us at?
We were 4-point favorites.
Yeah, we were 4-point favorites over Clemson. Mm-hmm. All right, Georgia -11.5.
-13.5. Fairly close.
Yeah.
And let's see if I can find another one that's halfway decent. Oh, here's a weird one. Miami at Louisville. Like, this is the only other. They play Virginia Tech, Louisville, and Florida State. It's a 3-game conference schedule. What do you think about Miami at Louisville?
Miami -3.5.
Miami +1. They're not high on Miami, man.
That is a dumb line. What are we doing? They should kill Louisville. What? Come on. That is crazy. What did I say? Miami -3.5, and Miami is a dog?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to bet the Canes right now. Let me get on my phone. What are we doing? This is an easy win for Miami. I hope I'm wrong. It'd be great if Louisville housed that ass, but I'm not seeing it. Man,
well, it's a look-ahead spot. They're hosting us the next week. Maybe that's part of the math. It's October 19th on the road at Louisville. So maybe they're focused on us. They sleepwalk. Mario does his thing, and what do you know? Bam! It's 23-all in the fourth quarter.
Tony just said that, by the way. They don't trust Mario. I think you're right. Judging by some of these numbers, they do not. They're like, I don't care what kind of team he has. He'll butcher it. The man doesn't know how to take a simple knee. Doesn't know how to do it. Girl Master, I'm not going to lose money this year. They're going to have guide rails like you do at the bowling alley for Mario. There are going to be 2 coaches that are the guide rails on either side. They're like, look, man, we're tired of this nonsense. Now, we've invested in you. We've spent a ton of money on your roster. This has to be foolproof. You have to win. And we're not going to let you get in your own way. We're going to have 2 gentlemen here that just have common sense more than anything else, and they're going to tell you when and how you're effing this up. Could be middle of the second quarter. Could be early fourth. They're going to be like, if I may, Mario, this is one of those moments.
Well,
you get out over your skis and you don't know what you're doing. We're here to tell you.
It's the next evolution of the get back coach, which is they've got the mute coach. He can just mute Mario's headset and mute his mic. No communication. You're not allowed. Not allowed. This is too high leverage of a situation.
Mario, in the next 3 minutes, I'm going to need you to stand down. Tough decisions have to be made, and this is where you step away.
This is just about yelling things and slapping people on the butt. That's what you do. When your mic goes, you hear the beep in both your ears. That means you just put your hands up, you yell things, and you slap people on the butt.
Mario, what you have to do when you hear the beep in your headphones, which means we've turned you off, and you'll be back on within 3 to 5 minutes, depending on the circumstances on the field and on the scoreboard there in terms of time and distance and score. But what you have to do is convince people you're still actively involved in the important decisions, because that's what we're paying you to be. But we also know we don't want you to do that. So this is where you go and maybe you make it a point with a kid about what it means to be tough. And that way the cameras can show you doing that. And it looks like, see, look at him coaching him up, even in the middle of this game. And maybe you can go over, and if you're really mad about something that happened earlier in the game, you can yell at a player about that, where Mario's getting on him. Or you could go and put your arm around a coach and talk about the weather. But it doesn't really matter. It looks like you're having a heart-to-heart with one of your assistants in the big moment. You got to do something that's going to make it look like you're still involved in the most critical aspects of the game at the most critical moments of said game.
Hey, it's never a bad look to go walk over to the strength coach. You walk over to the strength coach, and he's got his waxed little handlebar mustache. Yeah. And you are talking, and you just do this. You do this number. It's where you grab, it's the knife edge of the hand, and you say some things, and you're talking about the post-game meal.
You got to point to the field, makes it look like you're saying something that's applicable to the football game.
Right. And, Fowler and Herbstreit are going to run with it because they love the program anyway, Mario. So when they cut to that, they're going to say, well, the strength coach is the lifeblood of the program. And Mario knows how to use it.
With all the players than any other coach, because they spend the entire offseason with him. Look at Mario going over here in this moment, a critical moment of this game, I might add. You'd think he'd be on the headset making a big play call, but Mario trusts his assistants, always has. Now he's over here, and he's talking to this strength coach because down the stretch he knows that message is going to be conveyed to those players, better delivered from him than from Mario himself. That's just good coaching, and this is the modern coach. He understands the CEO aspect of all of this. See, there you go, Mario. We got you covered. Just so long as you're not having to say anything of any importance about the bigger decisions and the games that decide the outcome of said game, then we're going to be in a good place. So there it is. That's it. Yeah, you're right. Guardrails coach, safe word coach in the chat. I saw that too. I like safe word. You don't even have to have the beep on the headphone. It could just be the hawk has landed. So it's 4th and 1 from the opposing team's 40 with 4 minutes to play. You're up 3. You've sent out the punting unit. The hawk has landed. Now we're going for it. On 4th and 1, you're going to look up and we're going for it. We're trying to win the game.
Yes, you've averaged 4.5 yards a carry. This is it. You're going to win. They're out of timeouts. Although
you're going to win the game if you get the first down. You've sent out for a long field goal, and we're not. The hawk has landed, and then all of a sudden the play call comes in, and it's.
You know what's really going to trip him up this year? Oh man, I feel bad for his assistants. There's a 2-minute warning. Good luck doing the math on the timeouts, Mario. Oh, my God. There's a 2-minute warning this year.
No, but it saves him. It saves him from himself. That 2-minute warning is going to come into play, and he'll be like, oh, man, I almost butchered that. Thank God for that 2-minute warning. What do I need to do?
He'll spend 2 timeouts at the 4-minute and 3-minute 15-second mark. Like, what? You still have the 2-minute warning. Mario, we have the ball. Why are you doing this? And then when it comes up empty, the other team could just put their knee in the ground.
We don't have to do this, man. Not again. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Investors, are you looking for a creative way to purchase your next rental property? Are you looking to get into the Airbnb space? If so, you need to know about DSCR loans. It stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. These are loans that do not require traditional income verification. As long as the proposed rent covers the mortgage payment on the subject property, that's the only income you need. If you're looking at investing and don't know if you can qualify, let's set up a plan to get your next income-producing property and start putting you on a path to passive income. Give me a call at 954 369-6171. And don't forget, every fellow Knoll that we close a loan for, I will personally make a donation of $250 to the Battle's End. It's Shannon Young at 954-369-6171.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 373031.
Whidden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Whidden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Whidden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whidden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Whidden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Have you been injured on I-10? I'm Dana Brooks of Facing Brooks Law Offices. We partnered with Roadproof to access all interstate traffic camera footage along I-10 from Pensacola to Jacksonville. Memories fade and witnesses disappear. Securing important video footage now can make sure your claim receives the full attention it deserves. Call us today and let us secure the proof you need to come back stronger. Facing Brooks, 850-777-7777. Offices Destin, Tallahassee, and Jacksonville.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
Your heating and air conditioning system doesn't check with you before it takes a break. That's why we're always ready to help. Any day, anytime, anywhere. And with our annual service agreement, there are no overtime charges. Ever. At Verno Heating and Air, we will always be there for you.
Barry knows heating and air conditioning.
License CAC 1816186.
It's happening daily. We're being conned by the institutions we used to trust. The main...
Attention, Florida. Are you a victim of an auto accident? We introduce our live chat sponsor, Hyson Leaka Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Hyson Leaka Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. Remember, there's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Hyson Legal Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. Call 813-803-0733 now or visit HysonLegalLawFirm.com. Hyson Legal Law Firm, your advocate in times of need.
And survival gear. Order by 3 p.m. and you're...
About the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Attention, Florida. If you're a victim of an auto accident, we introduce our live chat sponsor, Hyson Legal Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. In an accident, call Hyson Legal Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for free consultation. Remember, there's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Hyson Legal Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. 813-803-0733 now, or you can visit HysonLegalLawFirm.com. Hyson Legal Law Firm, your advocate in times of need. Offices, Tampa. We want to thank our friends from ISF as well. It's time to bring up our wonderful collaboration with them. They do great work, obviously state government, and this is across the nation, the work they do, partnering with so many important agencies and helping them become much more efficient, proficient, in getting the money to where it needs to go. Their operating systems, obviously with technology improvements. These are folks that work with you and not just folks that bring ideas to the table, but incorporate what you do. So we love ISF, and you can check them out, isf.com for more. And let's solve for the future. Florida State brings back Duke Cooper in kind of a surprise move. Again, it's so weird. It's like we're talking professional football. They do so. It's not going to cost them any money. So Duke Cooper comes in as a guy that's played a ton of college football. I will say that. Certainly can't hurt to have all of that experience. And Duke comes back to a place where he understands the defense. I think they wanted added depth. I mentioned before that I think in bringing him back, it tells you that he did not leave the program in an ugly way. So there is no animosity or acrimony there. The relationship would have to have been good. I can tell you that is something they take very seriously. There have been plenty of kids that left who had the ability to play that they wished had stayed, but when those young men left, it was in a manner that obviously the relationship was fractured, and even when they wanted back, they weren't allowed back. So that tells me Duke didn't do anything he shouldn't have when he chose to leave. They get back a guy they can trust to work hard. He did not transition well from corner to safety at the time that we asked him to do so. He ended up taking his services over to Colorado, where he started, and now he makes his way back here. I think it helps to mitigate the move of Greedy Vance to some degree. I've mentioned that before. I think he might be suited to play in the slot, and it'll be interesting to see. Do you want to add to that with the Duke Cooper move?
No, I mean, this has to be about depth with an eye towards safety in my mind. You're leaning towards slot corner. I'm leaning toward what's the carrot? Why would you come back to Florida State if you could probably at a lower level institution get some starting reps? He's played a lot of games. There has to be an opportunity to be a starter. And I think they like what they had in Devontae Brown at safety. I know they love what they have in Shaheem Brown, but you're trying to figure out that other rotation. It's just what's a little confusing to me is with the amount of young talent that you have in the secondary. It's at safety, at corner. I mean, even at slot. I think Edwin Joseph is a really impressive player. He's had some injury issues, but I like what I see out of him in the slot. So you're going to stunt the reps of one of those younger players, and you're making a choice to go get Amari in here to be in that rotation. Why? The most natural fit to me has to be at safety, but we'll see. They could line them up all over, and maybe they want to spell one of their outside corners for a period of time. We know they like to rotate a lot of guys on defense. It's just I don't think he came back here for outside corner. That job, especially the starting jobs, are on lock. The biggest opportunity to me is probably the second safety spot.
Florida State, of course, also lands former Auburn linebacker Cam Riley. He looks a little different than the other linebackers on this roster. If you're just going to talk about size and overall talent, I think this is a guy that immediately improves that room. Tom, for whatever reason, that guy's size or height and weight has been radically projected. It's some days you see 6'3", 230. Other times you see 6'4.5", 245. Like, what? Well, all right. What are we doing here? It's like high school rosters. But I do think safe to say just a little over 6'3", a little over 235.
Yeah. Auburn had him at 6'5", 242.
Yeah.
But larger than a lot of our linebackers, not named DJ Lundy. I think that's probably the most important thing, right? Because even Sean Murphy isn't exactly a thumper body type like Tatum Bethune was, like DJ Lundy is.
Yeah, I think that's true. And this is a more athletic version of a bigger linebacker than anything we have here. He's more athletic than DJ Lundy. So this will be interesting to see if this is a guy. I wonder how they use him. I compared him yesterday in a weird way to Amani Gaynor. And the reason I brought that up was that, unfortunately for Gaynor, he was betwixt and between. He was too small to be a defensive end. He did not have natural instincts as a linebacker. It's like if you tried to put him at Mike, he just didn't have a nose for the ball all that well. I always felt he was kind of floating around in between. He's a good, hard-playing football player. I mean, he worked hard. He was tough. He was a lot of things you want at the position. He certainly wasn't soft. It's just remember that? It was just frustrating. You could never feel like we could get a handle on what he was and how to best utilize him.
Yeah, agreed. I think what this does, at least if you're looking at the body type, now we'll see how he fits into the scheme. Like, you can have a skill set and a body type, but if it doesn't fit the scheme and they've got a different idea for you, that's one thing. But I think this fortifies what you can do in short yardage, on rundowns, in the red zone. At the very, very minimum, that's what it does. Because if you think of the way that it's constructed at linebacker for FSU right now, is it Justin Cryer? That's the guy you're second most confident in to come up and stop the run?
I like Justin Cryer a lot. I think he has a chance to have a good season.
He's a young player, though. It would help to come in on a rotational basis to learn from a guy like Cam Riley and somebody who's been in an SEC system for a long time. I think part of this, too, is Sean Murphy might need some time, and this is a hedge against that. I mean, if you've thought that this Alabama linebacker was going to come in and be dominant straight away because of the helmet he just wore, that's not what it showed in spring. I thought he was thinking through a lot of things. So I think it's a hedge against that. And it's almost like what we want the pitching staff to do in baseball. It slots everybody down a little bit, and it carves out some roles, which is probably the way that you want this linebacking crew to be if you're not going to have Deloach and Bethune, who were just 3-down players each, but the both of them.
The Sean Murphy point's a good one. I don't think he looked like a kid who's ready to play for us this year in spring. He looked like a guy, I would concur with you, that was thinking through some things. I also don't think he was as athletic as I thought he would be. Played a little stiff this spring to me. So I guess at the end of the day, it's going to take him a little time. We'll see what he becomes. I'm not saying he doesn't have some skills to play there, but he doesn't look ready-made, and he doesn't look like a guy that's a huge impact player just yet. I think this is a hedge against possibly missing on Murphy, by the way. I mean, we'll see. I'm not saying it's a miss yet, but possibly.
It could be. Like, I've seen a couple of plays in the open field where he triggers, gets downhill, and I'm like, oh, that's why Alabama wanted him. That makes a ton of sense. But, the game is played in the box. It's not about going and stopping a bubble. It's about getting up, picking a lane, picking the right lane, being instinctive, being quick, communicating. All of those things add up over time. It's not an easy position to play. And I remember when Tatum got here, how it just changed everything. When we were in practice before Tatum Bethune got here, Adam Fuller is aligning dudes. He's yelling at dudes before most every play. Then Tatum gets here, and it's like, boom, communication from one linebacker to the other. They are where they need to be. He'd step up and slap the butt of the defensive tackle. He said, move over a gap. I want your technique to be a little bit different because I'm anticipating this play. It's really important, even in this day and age where there's only 2 linebackers out there on first and second down, and maybe just 1 on third down and passing. It's still a really important position. So I don't know if it's because they don't know that Murphy can play at all. This is about their here and now. They think they can use another guy for the here and now, but they feel very good about the future of the position. That's for sure.
You don't like that I've already written Murphy off? Is that what you're saying?
That is a long-winded way of saying I don't want this to be your freezing cold take. I don't want this to be your freezing cold take because when it clicks for a dude, with this athletic profile, if it does, then he's going to be a big-time player. But he's got to stop thinking.
Didn't look ready though, did he?
No, he didn't.
Can we agree on that?
I said that too.
Okay.
He's thinking a lot. He's thinking an awful lot.
You'll hear Tom and I have this conversation, I think, in the coming months with him. I'm a little worried. That's all I'm saying. But you don't have to be worried if you work with my friends at ISF. They're here for you. ISF, a trusted thought leader in strategic, if I can speak, services for public sector agencies, stable, consistent presence for employees and clients who love what they do. They can do a lot of good things, work that matters to you. Quality experts and partnerships all over the country, and they foster long-term relationships with those clients and serve them best by making the processes work a little bit better, so that every agency that they're working with is more efficient, more helpful for those they seek to serve. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A crash took place in Taylor County Monday night, leaving one man dead after he was ejected from his vehicle. A 59-year-old Perry man was traveling north in an SUV on Beach Road when it crossed the center line into the southbound lane. A 36-year-old Steinhatchee man was traveling in a pickup truck in the southbound lane and veered off to the shoulder to avoid the crash. The front of the SUV hit the front left of the pickup truck, causing the 59-year-old driver to be ejected and the vehicle to flip onto the passenger side. The 36-year-old man was left with minor injuries. Georgia's public school teachers and state employees will be getting a pay raise soon as Governor Brian Kemp will sign a new $66.8 billion state budget into law. Public school teachers are getting a $2,500 raise starting July 1st. Pre-kindergarten teachers also are getting a $2,500 raise. Almost all of an extra $48 million in Georgia lottery funds are being put into the state's Department of Early Care and Learning. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McLemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Daytime highs approaching 91 this afternoon under partly cloudy skies with a chance of thunderstorms. Winds out of the southwest 10 to 20 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected tonight. Slight chance of severe storms. Lows level off around 73. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow. Thunderstorms likely. Highs around 84. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 89.
Hey, I'm Chris Young, and here's what's happening on the next Bud and Broadway show.
Hey, are you ready to see Christopher Reeve as Superman and Adam West as Batman all in the same movie?
That would be cool. We're going to have another round of questionable opinions from Twitter for you.
And we'll get you all caught up and up to date on the drama surrounding my son Grayson's prom date.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti, right?
Yep,
and then
Yeti.
Here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And,
I've never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
But I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe in
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Tom, we've entered into the month of May, and I've realized on my button board here that with the ambrosia being gone for some reason, I got to find the other one. But we are ready to move on. Isn't it time to start incorporating different tunes?
Usually I would wait until about the second week of May for Frankie so we can get the summer winds. And it makes total sense now. Living up here, I'm telling you, it makes total sense. We're finally hitting the mid-70s for the first time. And you can feel the summer wind. It starts to get to a place where we got to turn on the air conditioning here, which is just, you get it now. It means more to me. Frank means more because we always have the summer wind in Tallahassee. Always.
I don't want to hear it. It's 91 here today. It's ridiculous. Somewhere in that neighborhood. I'm supposed to race from here today over to my son's middle school, pick him up, bring him over to spring football at Leon. 8th graders are able to participate to varying degrees for spring football. And I have to, with a straight face, tell him every day that I do that when he gets in the car and says, "Jeez, it's hot. This is going to suck." And I go, "Oh, no, it's fine." I don't really, my retort is never all that convincing. I just say, "No, it's okay." I think he's probably looking at me like, "That's all you got for me? You're just going to just tell me it's okay? Like, you're not, you won't give me a single reason you believe that to be true. These are just hollow words, Pops." And they are. He never calls me out on it, but he could.
You could just tell him, "Hey, your dad did it. You think you're tougher than your dad? Then go prove it." See how that goes.
Motivate him. Yeah. I don't know, man. He'd be like, "It's a little too hot for that nonsense, Pops."
What? You want to go play some video games, son? Is that what you want? You want to sit inside all day and play some video games?
Well, he's in between a rock and a hard place right now. I snatched his phone.
Again?
Oh, his kid doesn't learn. Tom, I'm done with it. I snatched he hadn't seen that phone in 48 hours. He won't see it for another week.
Is he going to have the phone privileges when he gets up here? When you all visit up here? What's the money line on that?
I've actually, there's about to be more of a permanent problem for him with that thing. I may just pull it away for good. We're getting to, it's funny navigating this, like trying to watch. That's one thing. I don't know if you do this, but when you're watching a game with somebody, like you and I could be watching a game. Like right now is a glorious time in sports. Every night I go home, there's an NBA playoff game. There's a Major League Baseball game that I want to watch. There is the NHL playoffs, and I'll watch any NHL playoff game. So it doesn't matter who's playing on this given night. It's an NHL playoff game. I'm going to watch it. Now, of course, I gamble on these things, so you have that. And then every Thursday, there's a PGA Tour event. So I'm in on 4 to 5 things in a given night. Now, I don't, and of course, Florida State baseball and et cetera. I don't expect my kids to sit around and watch sports in the same way that I do. I mean, it is my job after all, but also, I mean, I get it. They have other things they want to do, and there's homework, and there's girlfriends, and there's whatever. There's their buddies in the neighborhood, all that. All I ask is if we are the other night we watched Florida State Jacksonville together, which what a game that turned out to be, huh? What a win for Florida State. I mean, you're down 3, you score 2 in the 8th, 1 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th, and then you walk it off with a kid that's had 2 at-bats all year long, who, by the way, prior to that made that sweet pick over at first. So Lance Triple becomes a name now for Florida State fans that we had never even heard of probably. Good for that kid, right? What a night. Well, Bryce and myself and my wife were all watching. Clark comes out to watch. The game's getting good. It's getting down to the nitty-gritty, and I look over, and he's on his phone. I can't do it. I've just become the cranky old man. I'm just going to be snatching phones left and right.
Every team has this guy, too. Every team has that. If you're going to have aspirations, just to take it to Florida State baseball for a second, if you're going to have championship aspirations or a special season of some kind, you have a random dude who helped you get over the hump at a weird time. And I know the midweek game isn't this critical deal, but if we're splitting hairs between a national seed and not, it could be a bigger deal than I'm getting.
And Jacksonville's 22-24 this year. That would have been a bad loss, and it would have put you in a position where you didn't have as much wiggle room. You want to give yourself as much wiggle room as possible going into the ACC tournament. That is a nicer way of saying you'd like to not have to win a single game in the ACC tournament if you didn't have to. Losing to Jacksonville would have put that in jeopardy.
Right. Unless it's D1 baseball, that's the committee. You're not going to get elevated for losing a midweek game. They love to do that. But the pennant-winning Mets from 15, a great team, a lot of fun to watch. They had a guy named Kirk Neuenhuis.
Oh, I remember Neuenhuis.
What a perfect name. First Mets ever hit 3 home runs in a game. And it was a big Sunday affair at that. We needed it. Sometimes these weird dudes just pop their heads up, and you know it. You Braves fans with those couple of World Series you won with 20 division championships, those 2 times that you parlayed it into a World Series. I'm sure you had a random dude step up. Your 79 Pirates probably did too.
They were all world-class baseball players in 79, Tom. Every one of them.
That's right.
We didn't need some slappy off the bench. We were rolling deep with stardom.
If he was on the poster on your wall, then he was a star, no matter what. Did you have the team poster?
I did have the team poster, and I also had every one of the baseball cards, and my mom threw them away. I've bitched about it for 26 years on the airwaves. I had the entire 79 Topps roster somewhere in a swamp.
That's hurtful.
I'm still pissed. Like, people ask, like, what are the great grievances you have with your parents when you get older? And you're like, well, some people will be like, my dad never gave me a hug. I sit around and go, my mom threw away my baseball cards. Can you believe it? I thought about it the other day, not the baseball cards, but this old man named Paul who would visit his granddaughter, Jennifer, who lived next door to us. I thought she was beautiful. She was 2 years older than me. I was always trying to impress her. But Paul would come out and talk to me, and that dude was 1,000. And he would drink Pabst Blue Ribbon and sit right there on the corner, and I would talk with him, and we would talk all things sports. And I told you, that guy promised me his baseball card collection, which had rookie Willie Mays, rookie Mickey Mantle. This was a dude that had met Babe Ruth. He was 1,000 years old. He was incredible. And then the cards got snatched from under me when he died suddenly. I never got those cards. My life has been forever altered by the cards that are no more.
You should have handed him a Pabst. Like, let me get you a refill. Here you go.
Yeah.
Can I get that in writing? Can we put that in writing?
I should have just said, all right, old man, I enjoyed talking to you, Mr. Paul. Next time you better come here without empty hands. I want to see those cards. You can't be out here promising, rookie, all-world Mickey Mantle, rookie, this and that, rookie. You got to come here with the cards. Bring the goods.
Well, and the thing is, you were so mature at that age. I'm sure you would have spent that money on good things. It would have been.
I wouldn't have sold the cards. I would have kept them forever. Well, not forever, but I would have kept them for a very long time. I might have kept them forever. I didn't collect a lot of things, but I loved baseball cards. I loved riding my mongoose up to the 7-Eleven and buying a new pack of cards, opening those cards, smelling those cards, the stale gum, the whole thing. I remember the cards getting home. Sometimes my buddy Chris and I would say, okay, you can't open the cards. You get to the house. Then we would trade the cards. And you're like, oh, man, I already have Concepcion. I don't need Concepcion. You get Concepcion. And you're like, we would do this it was incredible.
It's in perfect condition. It's an immaculate Concepcion.
Oh, man.
The card smell is an underrated one. We talk about it a lot. You know, the fresh cut grass, the smell of the infield dirt, the sound, especially of walking into a baseball field for practice, the grinding of the pebbles underneath your cleat.
Oh, that sound is right. Yeah.
The smell of a fresh mitt though in the outfield, but the baseball or the trading cards themselves, I had hockey cards, big surprise, but the smell of that, you go to a card show too. You could smell the plastic pages that they put them in. And the good card collectors had those brand new, perfectly clean pages that you could look through. I'm missing card 175. Do you have 175? Hang on. And he grabs his binder. Oh man, those were good days.
Will Shep, my man, no, not more pissed off than how he threw away all my records. Oh, you had to do that. You had to bring that up. Threw away all my records in a rash decision born of frustration and poverty. Having to leave one apartment for an even crappier apartment in the dead of night that I couldn't afford. Nobody helping me move. Broken down car, cold as ice outside. I'll never forget it. I'm just like, I don't need these albums. I can't do this anymore. Why do I keep lugging these records? Nobody's ever going to have records again. I should just throw these away. Who am I kidding? Why couldn't some record fairy have landed on my shoulder and said, you dumbass, you know how long it's taken you to collect these 2,000 plus records? You have an original Goat's Head Soup. You got Quadrophenia first. I mean, it's unbelievable.
That fairy is Chappelle's Rick James. It is cold as ice. It is cold as ice out here. I know it's heavy, but you have to lift it. You have to lift them.
It was unreal. Here you go.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
And yet no music. Just dry. Just dry.
You don't want that probables bed, huh?
Well, I have. You mean no.
No? Okay. All right, then we stay on. Guess what, YouTubers? You're with us for an extra 4 minutes.
You get to stay on, get to hear the names. It's 2-1. Arizona leads Cincinnati in the 6th. That is Slade Ciccone. Hunter Green going for the Reds. Minnesota is clobbering the Seattle Mariners. That's kind of hard to do because their pitching's very good. It is 8-1 in the 5th inning. Twins all over the Mariners. Logan Gilbert gets lit up today. Pablo Lopez going for the Twins. Giants, Rockies, Keaton Wynn, Cal Quantrill. Astros, Yankees, Ronel Blanco, Marcus Stroman. We got the Guardians and the White Sox. Ben Lively, Eric Feedy, and Cardinals, Brewers. Sonny Gray, Tobias Myers, followed by last game of the night. Nobody will be watching this one, guys. I'm curious how many people would tune in. Kansas City at the Angels. By the way, Kansas City doesn't suck, so maybe I should take that back. Michael Wacha goes for the Royals. That's where he is. Reed Detmer goes for the Angels, and that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Martin! Just because somebody wanted me to say it. I would tell you that if you bet the over on Kansas City the way I did earlier this year, you're probably going to win some money. That's not a terrible team. I also bet the over on the Pirates. You're probably going to lose some money.
You never know. Hey, man, we're only 5 weeks into the season, 6 weeks into the season. You get hot, you win 10 out of 16, you're right back on track.
We're not winning 10 out of 16. We can't hit.
Okay.
You saw we're bringing up Paul Skeens.
He's pitching Saturday. I did see that.
It's funny because everybody in Pittsburgh's so pumped that Skeens is coming up, and I'm excited too. But the pitching staff hasn't been the problem. We can't hit. Poor Paul Skeens is going to get up there and lose 1-0 in his first 3 starts. He'd be 0-3 with an ERA of 1.
Yeah, I've seen you guys. And there's a defensive miscue coming at some point during the game. The question is, will it cost you a run? Because if it does, then the mountain becomes that much steeper to climb.
Yeah, watching a team, there are very few things that leave you more frustrated watching baseball than a team that can't hit. The only other is a team that can't get outs from the 6th inning on. Bullpen woes. I think if we're defining terms, bullpen woes are worse than hitting woes, or no?
They are, because you will trick yourself like Charlie Brown trying to kick a football that it's going to be different today, and you're going to invest an hour and a half of your time in the starting pitcher's effort. And so your hopes are going to get up. Oh, we're up by 3. We won a game on Monday night in St. Louis where we're up by 3 in the 9th. First guy hits a home run, next guy's on base. And even though we won the game, I'm mad. My night's ruined. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Runner on first, and they go first and second, 1 out in a 2-run game, and Diaz is not available. Okay, so we lost. Now, we didn't, but still, bullpen woe, they have a real power to them.
Another reminder for all of you out there, Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas has everything you need for pool maintenance, chemicals, cleaners, pumps, vacuums, nets, covers, you name it, they've got it. And oh, by the way, if you've got an older hot tub and you've been putting off upgrading that because you just don't want to deal with the hassle of getting the old one removed and hauled away while you bring in another one, Pinch a Penny's got that solution for you as well. Not only will they come and remove that old hot tub, they'll give you something for your trade-in, and that will go as credit to your new hot tub, so that doesn't suck. Make it easy, folks. Go check them out. Have an amazing hot tub selection there of a Greer Street. Man, it's amazing. Greer Road, I should say. Find out for yourself how easy and affordable it really is. Pitch a Penny Pools and Spas, if you're ready to relax, they're ready to show you how. Tom, been fun as always, good sir. We will do it again on a Libations Friday, I do believe. And it is kind of strange. We're moving ever closer to just the 100-day marker. And everything will remind everybody this. It gets all pushed up by a week this year. So we'll start ramping it up. I'm even told recently, without ruining it, we may be doing some top 40s here soon.
Ooh, all right.
And this year will be harder than ever.
That's a really
tough what role?
I think you should just do 1 through 15, tie for 16 for 24 times. Tied 16th, tied 16th, tied 16th.
Yeah, it'll be like the top 20 at a PGA Tour. Good looking out, sir. Talk to you later.